If you want to ruin the NBA playoffs, go ahead. Reseed them 1 through 16, get rid of conferences. Do group play like the World Cup. Guaranteed asterisk champion. Oh, but I am down with this play-in tournament. This thing's gonna be fun as hell, and I think it will become a permanent part of the NBA season. In this video, like the title says, we are predicting which team gets the West 8 seed. But right off the top, I'm sorry, let's just cross off the Spurs and the Suns. Let's be real, the NBA invited you there for the money. They need to complete at least 70 games to recoup cash. If it was really all about safety, they'd just go with the current 16-team bracket. Instead, it is a race for 8th. The Kings, Pelicans, and Blazers are all 3.5 games back of the Grizzlies. Whichever one stays the 9 seed, also within 4 games, will have a play-in tournament. And the winner gets their ass kicked by the Lakers. Hey, it's Casey, host of the AM Hoops YouTube channel. Hit subscribe and hit notification bells. Both of those things help the channel. While we're making 5 videos per week for y'all, even though we don't have games, I can't wait to see what it'll be like when we actually have games. And that's sort of what we're talking about today. We're talking about the race for the 8th seed. And I would say the most important thing when predicting the 8th seed would be to look at schedules. Then I heard Enes Kanter say this.
There's so many guys in our team that they're not going to play. They're like superstars. Like, if I tell you what it is, you'll be like, you go crazy. So I just can't tell you what it is, but like they said, hey, we're not going to play. Till they found the vaccine, till they find the cure, that they're not going to play.
What? Now, to be fair, he was talking about the East, but if that's true, who else might not play here? With the West 8 seed, though, a superstar dropping out has not been rumored, so we're good. Let's go through those predicted schedules for the Suns, Spurs, Kings, Pelicans, Blazers, and Grizzlies. Every team's schedule in the bubble will be just picking up from where they left off when the season was suspended. Now, if you get to an opponent that's either not in the bubble or that has already finished their 8 regular season games, you just skip to the next opponent. So here are the projected schedules. Now, I'm not gonna read them all. You can do that, you can see them. The point though here is that some teams have a major edge because they have such an easy schedule. Let's start with the 2 teams I already said just aren't gonna make it. First of all, the Suns aren't even all in. I mean, Kelly Oubre Jr., for example, ain't even gonna show up. He's gonna continue to rehab, even though he showed on his IG he looks ready to play. The Suns are probably wondering why they have to do this at all. Their schedule actually doesn't matter. Let's move on to the Spurs. And I love the Spurs. I respect like hell their 22 straight seasons making the playoffs. But all year, we have waited for them to flip a switch, and they haven't. The Spurs have a ton of issues too, like horrible defense, bad 3-point shooting. Now they don't have LaMarcus Aldridge. Literally, a struggling team is not gonna have their best rebounder and second leading scorer. Greg Popovich is good, but he ain't that good. Our next team here is the Kings. Marvin Bagley III, well-known, amazing rapper.
Riddle me this, how many records I need to put out so you know I can spit.
Is he just as good a basketball player? I don't know, but he will be healthy again. But I think their biggest advantage here is the gigantic chip on their shoulder as motivation. Literally no one believes in the Kings. ESPN asked their experts to predict. They had the Blazers just above Memphis, and the Pels and the Spurs at 2.9%. No mention of Sacktown. De'Aaron Fox noticed too. Damn, we have an absolute 0% chance. Couldn't even get a mention. You know they're gonna be pissed off and ready to prove something in the bubble. The Kings were 13-7 down the stretch right before the season was suspended, so they are rolling, but so are the Pelicans, and Sacramento is gonna have to beat the Pelicans twice in these 8 games before the playoffs, and I am taking New Orleans talent every day. The projected schedule for Sacramento has 2 really tough games in the Mavericks and the Rockets, but 2 games against New Orleans. And the Pelicans, without Zion, beat a fully healthy Kings team the only time they played this season. The Kings might not have a 0% chance, but they are not gonna make it either way. So that leaves us with the Pelicans and the Trailblazers to force that play-in series with Memphis. Most of you in a poll picked the Trailblazers over the Pelicans, but New Orleans is absolutely in a better spot to get in and win a play-in series. Let's just start with that schedule. The Kings twice are wins, the Spurs and Magic wins, and they get 2 chances at closing the gap with Memphis. Yeah, the Clippers is an L, I admit that, but who knows what shape the Jazz are going to be in. It is a huge advantage to play Utah with the Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert drama, Bojan Bogdanovic out after surgery, he scored 20 points per game, and Joe Ingles may not play over health concerns. That is a ceiling of 7-1 to end the regular season for New Orleans. Meanwhile, the Blazers could have one of the toughest schedules in Orlando. You got the Grizzlies, okay, that's a win. Rockets, Mavericks, Sixers, Celtics, all in a row and all potential losses. Nets, okay, that's a win. Lakers, maybe, then Heat or Magic. Now those last 2 are tricky because the Heat and the Lakers might have finished their schedule, but even if they get easy games for those last 2, it is a much tougher schedule for Portland. And we might as well analyze the Grizzlies schedule while we're here. Blazers, Jazz, Spurs, Thunder, Bucks, Pels twice, and the C's. That is 5-3 at best. I cannot understand, after looking at these schedules, how anybody, let alone the majority of you, picked the Grizzlies to get the 8th seed. Yes, there is the play-in tournament. We'll talk about that in a bit, but it's not just the schedule that the Pelicans have going for them. I understand the pressure of a playoff push to end a season is something that the Blazers are used to. Dame time was made for these kinds of situations, but this is a completely different situation. Instead of packed arenas with thousands of fans cheering their team to a playoff spot, the Pelicans are gonna get to play in quiet arenas. No home court advantage with refs influenced by the crowd. Not one cell phone selfie being taken. It'll be just them and their opponent. And that is a huge advantage for a young team like New Orleans. No home court advantage is gonna be a huge storyline throughout the playoffs, and people aren't talking enough about it. For example, the German soccer league Bundesliga, one of the first to open up in Europe. Home teams normally win 43% of games. That is down to 22%. No home court is gonna be a factor in the race for 8th, and it totally favors New Orleans. And when I say New Orleans has more talent, that kind of sounds crazy because a now healthy Portland Trail Blazers is gonna be stacked. Of course, they have Dame and CJ. They've got Hassan Whiteside and Carmelo Anthony. But now healthy is Jusuf Nurkic and Zach Collins. But the Blazers' health is the opposite of a blessing in disguise. It's a curse. Terry Stotts has so much on his hands here trying to fit these guys into a rotation. Do you start Whiteside at the 5 like he has all year? I mean, he's played well. Nurk isn't exactly in a groove yet. Do you play Zach Collins and bench Carmelo Anthony? How's Melo gonna react to that? Plus, all these people thinking the same Jusuf Nurkic is gonna come back are wrong. He's been out of basketball for about a year, and it takes even elite players a long time to look like themselves. It took Paul George about 1.5 years to recover. Gordon Hayward may never look like his all-star self again. Those two had lower leg injuries similar to Nurk, but even Kristaps Porzingis with his ACL or Victor Oladipo with his quad are slowly getting back to who they used to be. It takes time, and a 3 to 4 week training camp is not going to be enough to get Nurkic and Zach Collins to meet expectations. Look, even if you disagree with me, you should hope I'm right, because if I am, we're going to have a Zion Williamson against a Ja Morant play-in tournament, 1 against 2, Rookie of the Year against the guy everyone thought was going to win Rookie of the Year. So in this play-in tournament, the Grizzlies have an advantage because the Pelicans have to beat the Grizz twice to advance, and the Grizz only have to win once. And I think New Orleans has the edge here too, because this is not the same Grizzlies team we've seen all year. The Pelicans are loaded with talent that's gelling at the right time. Zion Williamson had successfully integrated himself on the floor before the season stopped. The Grizz, on the other hand, lost 2 key veteran pieces in their trade with Miami. The Grizzlies agreed to take on Dion Waiters and James Johnson's bad contracts to also get Justice Winslow in the deal. Then they lost Jay Crowder and Solomon Hill with Andre Iguodala. This clearly was a trade for the near future. I mean, if they can fit Justice Winslow in, they get another young, talented player on a great contract. But that doesn't help them this season. Justice hit his stride last year in Miami with the ball in his hands, and that's not exactly needed on the Grizzlies. Justice Winslow will need a lot more than this mini training camp in Orlando to find his fit on the Grizz. Jay Crowder, who's now gone, was a big part of their success this year, hitting several big shots. And Solomon Hill gave them just 20 valuable minutes off the bench, hitting 38% from downtown. But I still see New Orleans getting into the play-in tournament and then winning twice against the Grizzlies, and that means back-to-back great series featuring Zion Williamson, only this time against LeBron James. And years from now, we'll look back at that series as sort of a passing of the baton, the old to the new face of the NBA. Support AM Hoops and click subscribe. Don't miss a daily NBA video.